In this podcast episode, Oliver Burkeman explores the complex relationship between productivity, relaxation, self-worth, and the pursuit of meaning in life. Through an insightful conversation, he delves into the challenges of balancing ambition with ease, the psychological traps of overachievement, the illusion of control, and the tension between agency and surrender. Burkeman also discusses how modern culture often stifles genuine aliveness, and how embracing imperfection and finitude can lead to a more fulfilling existence. Burkeman questions the conventional notion that excelling in a field requires relentless tension and constant hypervigilance. He proposes that being highly competent and truly relaxed is not only possible, but often preferable. The tight grip some feel over their goals can create ambient anxiety that hampers performance. Drawing on personal experience, Burkeman explains that relaxing into an activity rather than obsessing over it allows one to enter a flow state where authentic creativity and skill emerge. This state contrasts with the immobilizing self-consciousness that perfectionism and overcontrol induce. A fundamental issue Burkeman highlights is the difficulty people face in pursuing goals without tying their self-worth directly to achievement. Caring deeply about a goal often breeds disappointment if outcomes fall short, which then spirals into negative self-judgment. He introduces the concept of the insecure overachiever, individuals whose drive is fueled by a need to fix deep-seated feelings of inadequacy. Their accomplishments become moving goalposts, minimum standards that must be met to avoid feeling worthless. This endless cycle not only erodes joy, but also traps them in a perpetual state of pressure, where success becomes a source of relief rather than celebration. The desire for control is a recurring theme, with Burkeman unpacking how much of human anxiety stems from trying to steer life's uncontrollable variables. While agency and effort are celebrated, he warns against confusing agency with control. Attempts to dominate outcomes often leave people feeling fragile and overwhelmed. Instead, he advocates for a balance where relaxing into uncertainty, unclenching, actually fosters more authentic power and freedom. This relinquishing of control is not resignation, but a strategic orientation toward life's limits, leading to greater presence and effectiveness. Burkeman reflects on the curse of competence, where achievements stop feeling like milestones and instead become baseline expectations. This mindset diminishes satisfaction and transforms every success into a stressful requirement to do better next time. He contrasts different emotional responses when things go well, relief versus joy, using this as a gauge of whether one is gripping life too tightly. Recognizing that failure is inevitable and embedded in life's finitude, he suggests that embracing failure not only reduces anxiety, but opens space for more meaningful engagement with one's goals. Challenging traditional productivity models, Burkeman stresses the importance of aligning work with genuine interest and enjoyment. He observes that people often suppress what truly interests them out of fear that these pursuits are less marketable or effective. Instead, incorporating what feels alive and engaging creates sustainable motivation and higher quality output. Rather than forcing focus or grinding through tasks detached from pleasure, he encourages navigating productivity by tuning into what feels compelling at the moment, even when that includes administrative or less glamorous duties if they resonate with one's values. Burkeman expresses skepticism about artificially engineering fun, as the very act of deliberate effort can undermine spontaneity and enjoyment. However, he notes that the ability to let go and immerse oneself in an activity, entering a flow state, is critical for meaning and success. This flow contrasts sharply with trying to micromanage experiences or outcomes. Instead of structured fun, what matters is cultivating conditions where natural engagement and aliveness emerge through presence and surrender, rather than over-control or forced cheerfulness. As Burkeman discusses his own journey through midlife, he highlights the psychological challenge of evolving beyond previously successful strategies and identities. The transition often entails a period of incongruence, where one's internal state no longer aligns neatly with past habits or outward performance. This stage can feel disorienting and vulnerable when compared to peers who seem more congruent. He frames this evolution as a necessary shedding of old shells and a movement toward a deeper, more flexible self, even if it temporarily diminishes productivity or apparent coherence. Addressing the theme of commitment and settling, Burkeman reframes settling not as a failure, but as an inevitable choice shaped by finitude. Because resources and time are finite, every decision involves trade-offs and concessions. The myth of infinite options drives indecision and perpetual dissatisfaction. Recognizing that choosing one path inherently closes off others allows a healthier acceptance of limits and fuller engagement with the present commitments. Settling, then, can be a source of depth and opportunity rather than loss. Burkeman touches on the contemporary concerns surrounding AI and automation, especially in creative and communicative realms. While technology offers remarkable tools to augment productivity or repair relationships, he warns of the distancing effect when one substitutes authentic personal expression with generated content. This can erode genuine connection and expose users to feelings of fraudulence or inauthenticity. He underscores the importance of embracing the messy, imperfect process of real human interaction, including its failures and vulnerabilities, as the foundation of meaningful relationships and creativity. Drawing on spiritual teachings, Burkeman cites Krishnamurti's "I don't mind what happens" as a pinnacle of existential acceptance. This attitude reflects a peaceful engagement with reality as it unfolds, without rigid demands or resistance. Acceptance here is not passivity, but a form of strength that balances effort and surrender. By adopting this stance, one can fully invest in life's endeavors while being unshaken by inevitable setbacks and uncertainties, paving the way for a more profound aliveness and agency. A major philosophical strand in the episode revolves around distinguishing agency from control. Burkeman identifies agency as the capacity to respond dynamically and authentically to life's circumstances, whereas control is the often futile attempt to dictate outcomes. Excessive control efforts lead to rigidity and fragility, while genuine agency arises from flexibility, presence, and trust. He sees the path to empowerment not in tightening one's grip, but in consciously relaxing it, an inversion of popular productivity paradigms. Burkeman acknowledges the paradox, whereby advice tends to resonate most with those who already embody its principles, while those who need it most often resist or ignore it. This dynamic creates a feedback loop that reinforces existing dispositions and limits change. He reflects on how messages to work harder often only amplify the anxieties of already overachieving individuals, whereas those more inclined to relax might benefit more from encouragement to ease up. This selection bias complicates the dissemination of helpful guidance and highlights the need for nuanced communication. Central to Burkeman's current focus is the concept of aliveness, a deeply embodied, vibrant mode of engaging with life. He critiques modern culture for systematically draining this quality through perpetual stress, distraction, and an obsession with control. The loss of aliveness is linked to clenching or grasping mental habits, which constrict experience and diminish joy. His forthcoming work aims to explore how unclenching and relaxing into uncertainty can restore this vitality, offering a counterpoint to both despair and superficial positivity. Finally, Burkeman addresses the paradox that success often amplifies feelings of failure internally, as each achievement becomes the baseline for the next challenge. This dynamic traps many in an ongoing struggle where meaning and satisfaction are deferred or elusive. Drawing on psychoanalytic insights and existential psychology, he suggests that a shift in perspective is necessary, one that embraces impermanence, finitude, and the inherent limitations of human agency. Such a stance enables the creation of richer, more sustainable meaning that is not hostage to external metrics of success.